Now I turned it on. Ah!
It's okay.
Okay, well, you're going to get the recording from the last part of this anyway. Okay, George disappeared on me. Can you hear me, George? All right, we got to keep going. Why do people stay where they are, right? Why do they not make changes? Fear. And sometimes that fear is really false expectations that appear to be real. So what do I mean when I say that?
Fear is, say that again, false expectation?
Yeah, false expectations appearing real.
Because like you're already predicting the negative inevitable, kind of, right?
Yep, you're already anticipating failure. Well, in some case, yeah. So great. I mean, I should have known you would nail this because of this is just, again, mindset, the reason people need to center themselves, the reason they need to get mind, body, and spirit aligned. It's absolutely true, right? But fear for some people, when we say false expectations appearing real, they can even be afraid. Of course, they're afraid of failure, right? They're afraid, I'll look bad, right? I'll look bad. It'll be painful. I don't want to fail. But some people are afraid of what? Success. Oh my God, what if it works? I don't know. Can I handle it? Can I do it? I'm afraid. What are they afraid of? They're afraid of change, right?
The challenges.
Right? Challenges, change, the unknown. These are so many things that essentially they're false expectations appearing real. Our brain is wired to try to maintain a steady state, right? It's why some people avoid, right? They avoid because they don't want to go through that pain. It's your brain trying to tell you, that was painful last time we did that. Maybe not physically painful, but that was psychologically painful. Let's not let you do that again, right? Let's protect you from doing that again. Okay, so basically, we need to overcome that, right? Because those false expectations appearing real are the things that can stop us from going forward. So sometimes we need to take that step off the cliff, right? And move forward. Right. Here's an interesting one. There's actually a study done, or believe it or not, they took an ad looking for a particular type of employee and posted, guess what? The same exact ad 2 different ways. In one version of that ad, the salary was listed at about $50,000. In the other version of the ad, the salary was listed as up to $250,000. Exactly the same ad, difference being the amount of salary. And what do you think happened?
People run to the bigger salary.
Yeah, well, thank you for being optimistic about people, and I'm so glad that's your answer. But in reality, people did not apply for the bigger ad because they didn't have high enough self-respect. They thought they weren't worth that much, so they didn't go for it. Essentially, they should have come to you, right? But that's the point, right? Which is in my humble opinion, it's why some people are willing to be business owners, because they're going to go out on a limb and be responsible for themselves and go for it. But think about the number of people who might have applied for that same exact ad and decided, gee, I don't think I'm worth that. I'll apply for this one, the lower price, the lower salary. Okay. It means they don't have themselves held in high regard to go for it. Right. So what do we have to do to get people to think more highly of themselves? go for it, right? That's kind of the key. Georgia, you see, I had forgot to turn the recording on, but I did. Finally.
Yeah, I just saw that you did.
Okay. The formula for life success. Okay, we talked about the formula for change. We talked about the fact that people are reluctant to change, right? Now, here's the formula for life success. And it begins with B. When I talk about the B, what am I talking about? I'm talking about who you are, right? You're talking about who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I hate when that happens. Right, be, do, have. So what you are, who you are, right? Which is the way you think, what you've learned, all that stuff that makes you up, times the actions you take. What you do yields your results. So you may want to have something. You may want to have a very successful business, and that's great. But what does it start with? Right? It actually goes back through the actions you take and back beyond that to who you are, what you've learned, how you've learned it, the way you think, right? The result is based on those things. You don't jump right to results. You start with you, add skills, add learning, right? Multiply it by the actions you take, and that's how you get your results. Make sense? This is, I think, and I've got this quote on nearly the end of every one of these presentations, this guy named Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N. If you get a chance, and I think I have a couple of his books, I may remind me. I have a bunch of different books I can lend to you guys, but Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N, if you look up his stuff, work harder on yourself than you do in your job. And just think about that for a minute. Work harder on yourself than you do in your job. If you work harder on you, the results go through every part of your life, including your business. The more you do to benefit yourself, the more you do to add skills, the more you do to change the way you think, the better your results can be. Figure out what you fear the most and then do it, right? What's your most valuable asset? I don't know if you can see my screen, but there it is, guys.
Time.
Time. Can you make more?
Time.
Can you make more money? Sure you can.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get more customers?
Yeah.
Sure you can. Can you make more time?
No.
Nope.
No.
You get up in the morning and you got the day ahead of you until you're so tired you need to go to sleep, and that's it. And also, you may not want to work 16 or 18 hours a day. You may have to on occasion. You may enjoy it once in a while, but you cannot make more time. You have to make the best use of what time you have. I've got some of my most favorite numbers in business.
Mm-hmm.
This business is full of numbers. So here are my favorite business numbers. 2, 8, 25.
Why 2, 8, and 25?
What do you think? You got a guess as to why I say 2, 8, 25? My
You
favorite business numbers. 2. No, wake up at 2. Okay, here you go. Every week is about 2% of your year. Every month is about 8% of your year. Every 25, every quarter is 25% of your year.
Every what?
Every quarter, every 3 months.
Quarter. Okay.
Quarterly, every quarter.
25%.
It's 25% of a year, 2, 8, 25. So guess what? You let a week go by without getting done what you wanted to do. You just 2% of your whole year just went by you. You let a month go by without hitting your goals and your targets. Guess what? 8% of your year just went by you. You let January, February, March go by. You just let 25% of your year go by. Can you make up for that? Sure, but you could have dug yourself in a hole that you didn't need to dig.
You lost time.
And you lost time. Right on. The queen.
Right on.
The queen strikes again.
The queen spoke.
Pow, pow.
The queen, that's it. The queen. And I didn't realize that, you know, today is the Jubilee for the Queen of England. They're doing some whole celebration.
really?
Oh, is that what it is?
How fitting.
How fitting. Are you, is that where you are? Are you in London?
I wish.
Miss, I can't tell you my whereabouts.
And that's why you can't do it.
My
So
secret location.
here's the thing about time, the time target. What do you want to aim for? It's like anything else. The more you zero in on what? The bullseye, the better off you are. So what's the stuff where you're missing the target, right? Stuff that you might hit. Let me take you through a concept. Do you guys recognize the difference between something that's urgent and something that's important? What would be something that's urgent, but not necessarily important?
Urgent, something urgent. Like,
Well, how about
Feels more
this?
dramatic.
What if, yeah, George, that's right. That's
Yeah,
absolutely
like,
right. Well,
it feels like scary, like hospital stuff.
yeah, well, they think, right. They think sometimes the person sending something to you, it might be important to them. They're trying to make it urgent for you, right? So maybe somebody, is every email you ever got really, really important?
no.
No. So it might be to the person who's sending it, but it doesn't really do anything for you. They're just trying to get it off their desk and throw it at you, right? So urgent, and I used to always explain this in terms of things like a customer, right? A patient, a customer, a client. If there's somebody who's already paying you and they feel like they really need you or your help, or they want to get at you, then talk to you, they got a question that may be urgent and important. You might have somebody who's trying to sell you something, and to them, they want to make it sound urgent and important, but to you, it may be neither, right? Because you are busy with other things. So kind of as some examples, right? That stuff on that outside, it's not urgent, it's not important, it's in that 10%, it's distraction level. Something might be urgent, but not important, or certainly not important to you, okay? That's a little bit delusional. Now you start to get into something that's urgent and important. And that may be that example, like a customer, a client, a patient, something really, really, it's important to you because it's revenue producing. It's urgent to them. They really feel they want an answer. Okay. And then that gets into the demand tests, which in some cases you can't put off. You need to deal with it. Now we got to the real bullseye. It's really, really important. Not necessarily urgent, but it's super important. Okay. We've got to have time for this. It's the real bullseye, right? But until we can discard the other 10% of delusion and distraction, we don't have time to work on the not urgent and important. What would be an example of something that's super important, but not necessarily urgent?
Something super important. I can only think of stuff like medical wise or a family member, you know.
Yeah, I would say something that's a medical wise or a family wise might be both important and urgent. But something that's not necessarily urgent, but is really important might be doing something like working on your business. Being able to have time to work on it rather than just in it. Not urgent, meaning it's not a customer standing there waiting for an answer from you, but you really need to be able to have time on it, to grow it, to develop your people, to develop your business plan, develop your team. So no, is it 80% of all the stuff you do? No, it's maybe about 20% of all the stuff you do. Does it have to be done by a certain time in order to make sure that your customers are going to pay you? No, but if you don't do it, you don't grow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the difference in my mind. So yeah, that just outside the bullseye ring is both urgent and important. And it represents probably the lion's share of the time you have to spend. But you clear out that other 20% outside and get focused on the inside. And guess what? That's how you get to grow your business. It's an interesting concept, but it means we have to get to the point where we have enough free time to work on it, not just in it. Okay. And that's how we take the pressure, the stress, the strain, into developing a team and driving forward and having a business, not just a job. Make sense? So what are the keys to a winning team? Number one, a strong leader. What good is a team without a leader? Every team has a leader. Every great sports team has a captain. They also have a manager, a coach, right? They need a leader. Leadership is about passion and responsibility. 16 cylinders. So a really powerful engine has 16 cylinders, right? For Imani, it's body and mind. Okay, there's the basics. Got to have it. But then you need heart and spirit. They represent even more. So body, mind, heart, and spirit adds up to 16 cylinders of high performance. Okay. What do people in the world, for the most part, kind of neglect? Well, in a lot of cases, maybe people neglect all of it. I don't know, but they probably don't think enough about the heart and the spirit, right? They don't think enough about that. Maybe they pay attention to eating right. Maybe they pay attention to exercising, but
their mind,
right? Do they put enough effort into centering themselves? Do they put in enough effort into learning new things? Maybe not. Right? So body, mind, heart, and spirit. Right? That's the difference between being a manager and a leader. Right? What's the goal of a manager? What does a manager do?
Helps everyone else get the little jobs done.
Yep,
everyone
get things done.
Their assignments.
Yep. Get things done. They get things done. That's what managers are supposed to do, get things done. But is that a real leader? Yeah, in some ways, but it's not true leadership, right? Leadership is really about inspiring. So a goal of a manager is to get things done. I like to say, take the temperature, set the pace, right? Set the pace and take the temperature. What's the leader's job? To really inspire, to get people to go above and beyond, to take them to that next level, higher still than they would have been previously, right? That's what they need to do. So all of these things are components of being able to be a real leader. So if a manager's job is to get things done, right? A leader's job is to do what? Create more leaders.
Ooh.
To grow, we need what? A little bit of pressure. What turns carbon into diamonds? Pressure. Right? And that pressure can squeeze out something great, right? In some cases, even some emotion. We like to call this, perturbation. It's a real word. Sounds funny. Perturbation. It's under pressure, things can change, right? And here's the cycle of business. I love this slide for a couple of reasons, right? If you think about an owner of a business, right? What do they normally do? I know you can't see me moving. Oh, can you see? You can see my cursor moving around, right?
Yeah, I see it.
So this is what happens, right? The owner of a business, he worries about the team. The owner worries about the customers. The owner worries about the business. Sound familiar, George? The owner worries about the team, which he doesn't have, maybe, right? But then he worries about his customers. Then he worries about growing the business. So what is in the business, right? It's everything. It's the finances, the books, it's the budget, it's the payroll, it's the taxes, it's everything else. But what should the cycle really be? What's the greatest way to have a business? It's to follow this cycle. The owner builds a team. The team gets trained by the owner and what they have to do and how to take care of everything. Oh, darn it. The team takes care of all the customers, takes care of the stuff that has to happen. The customers support the business. The business takes care of the owner. It's a cycle. Instead of the owner's focus being split among everything, the owner worries mostly, not exclusively, but mostly about building a great team. Inspiring them, leading them, managing them, getting them to do things the way he or she wants it done. And that's what builds a great team. it also is what makes it possible for the owner to delegate properly so that the owner can focus on the business more than just in the business, right? Quality of life, the quality of your mentor, your teacher, the education, the stuff that you learn, the things that you know how to do, right? Your beliefs and your dreams, specifics that you put into what you want, the questions that you ask, like finding how to get to the right prospects. How do you take those prospects and move those prospects to the next level into actual paying customers? Quality of decisions that you make. I've had clients who come to the realization after working with me that the reason that they're working with me is, and they've said this to me, right? Oh, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to where I can make good decisions quickly. Think about that. Good decisions quickly, right? How do you make good decisions quickly? By having all the information you need to overcome your emotional view of something and to make a logical decision, right? It doesn't mean you disregard the emotion, but you don't make decisions without having all the information you need. Okay? Quality of your actions and your results. What are the keys to a winning team? Again, strong leadership, we just covered. A common goal. Making sure everybody knows what the goal of the business is. The goal of the business is the goals of the owner. A vision. Enroll people, get them to buy into your vision. This is why we talked about from the very beginning, a vision statement, a mission statement, and hang it on the wall. As soon as you start bringing on employees, you want them to understand your vision, your mission, right? So they can help you achieve that, right? Rules of the game. As you raise the standards, some people are not going to make it. They're not going to come along. They're not going to know, that they have to perform, and they may not make it. But if you set standards and norms, you'll weed out people who are not going to cut it. They're not going to understand your vision. Culture. I remember, I think it was, I don't know if it was last session or the one before that, I asked you, what wins in a battle, strategy or culture?
Culture.
Very good. Very good. Culture. You can have the greatest strategy in the world, but if your culture isn't tight and performing right, guess what? You don't execute the strategy. So it's most important to have the culture you want, right? Imani, I know enough about you to know what you're saying is when you deliver to people, you're taking an experience for them at a level way beyond, right? What the factory, massage, not factory, yeah, but you know what I mean? The chain type massage places do. They run things like this on a clock. And you're much more concerned about the mind, body, spirit, and taking the experience to a much higher level, which is a unique, right? Things. George, I'm absolutely convinced that your mission, from what I understand about you, is to get people to a level that understand that you can help them achieve what they really want and make their house a home, probably beyond that, but a real sanctuary, right? Okay. So rules should be tight. Culture should have context, right? And then you need an action plan. A lot of times the action plan is the kind of thing that lives only in the head of the business owner. But when something is a plan, there's really three major components before something can actually be called a plan, right? A plan is when you know who does what and by when. Who does what and by when. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't describe those things about it, it's not a plan, right? We got to know what it is. That's a prerequisite. But all of, people tend to go like this. Oh, oh, I know what I want to do. I want to get QuickBooks set up for my business. Okay, great. That's a what, right? Who's going to do it? How long is it going to take? What are the steps in order to get there? When's it going to be finished? So we know what. Now we have to know who, and we have to know when. If we don't have a when, there's a old principle of business. Work expands to fill the time you allow for it. Right? If you allow it to go on forever, it will. When we're hiring people, we should use position contracts. They're really agreements and not strictly contracts or agreements, but people who come on board should understand exactly what their job is. I have templates for all of these things that I'm talking about that I give to clients, and we go, okay, so you need to use this for creating a job and advertisement. You need this to explain the job description. You need this to have somebody sign it when they come on board. And you sign it and they sign it. And I'll tell you why. So sometimes I'll sit with a business owner and we'll go through their staff and their team on paper, right? And we'll go, okay. So things like, well, have you ever done performance appraisal for these people? Oh, no, I haven't. So are they all good? Are they all A plus employees? No, not really. So how do they know? Well, I guess they see me grunt and frown at them. Well, that's not feedback, right? That's not helping them get better, right? But here's the other thing. They don't even know what their job description is. I could give a piece of paper to one employee and say, write your job description out, and say to the owner of the business, for that employee, you write their job description out, and then look at them, and they're not the same. The employee thinks their job is one thing. Uh-oh, we just lost Imani.
Lose somebody. Yeah.
Okay, well, we gotta keep going, but hopefully
Okay.
he gets back in. But that, to me, okay, so this is so critical. They need to understand what the job is. Here she comes. You're back. Good. We were upset we lost you.
Okay.
Positional contracts, they need to understand what the job is, right? The business owner needs to understand their job, and they need to understand their job, and they need to get feedback, right? What's the best kind of feedback to give somebody?
I don't know.
Positive feedback.
Oh.
Positive feedback. Oh, you're doing great. I really enjoyed what you did here. This is very good work. I appreciate this. Positive feedback, right? What's the worst kind of feedback to give somebody?
Can I get in?
Actually, no, and that's a trick question. The worst kind of feedback to give somebody is
no feedback.
Yeah, there you go. No feedback, right? So what they don't know. He didn't say anything. I must be doing okay.
Sure.
I must be doing okay. I didn't say anything. Even if you say, oh, excuse me, Bob, excuse me, Mary, you didn't follow the rules, whatever you want. The customer's always right. You go through the, I expect you to do X, Y, and Z. This can't happen again. You might feel like negative feedback, but it's feedback. It's meant to improve the way things go. It doesn't have to be nasty, right? Certainly never should be nasty. But if you give someone no feedback, they think everything's okay. He didn't say anything. She didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I guess it's all right. Right?
Like I don't have to fix anything.
I don't have exactly. I don't have to fix anything. Nobody said anything. Right? This is why, position contracts are so important. Systems manuals. It doesn't have to be fancy, but a simple standard operating procedure. All right. A checklist on one page. We do X, Y, and Z. Okay. And your plan, and so on and so on. These are the things that make a difference for people. I don't understand why sometimes it just jumps ahead 2 slides. Support risk taking. What do I mean by support risk taking? It means if you've done all these other steps of being a leader, shared a common goal, explained the rules of the game, given everybody an action plan, then you want to give them some leeway to do things within those rules that might be thinking on their own and doing the right thing for the company. And if they do it for all the right reasons, you'll support what they do. Now you can then give them feedback. Whoa, okay, I know you were trying to do the right thing, but the next time I think we should do it this way. Or, wow, you made the right call. That was good. The customer's happy. I'm glad you did that because we don't want them to be unhappy. And you did the right thing. You're supporting the risk taking. But if you haven't laid out the rules and the goals and the action plan, then the odds that they're going to make the right call going forward are much, much lower, right? A breakthrough a lot of times follows after a breakup, a breakdown, a break apart, a break with. There's a Japanese phrase. This is basically very near and dear to my heart because at one point in my past life, I was a director of continuous improvement. Kaizen, right, is about continuous, never-ending improvement. It is always possible to do better. It's always possible to do more. It is always possible to improve, right? We should be after growth, which maybe you hit a ceiling and you have to break through and get to the next level, and you may hit a ceiling again, and then you can break through to the next level. But if you're always looking to improve, you can achieve an awful lot, right? 100% involvement and inclusion. That's what creates synergy. Synergy is essentially getting more out than you put in. That's when a business is really kicking on 16 cylinders. That's when the owner has got a great team that's taking care of the customers, that's taking care of the business, that is supporting the owner. It's 1 + 1 = more than 2. Okay. And then lock it in with rituals. Okay. We can't do this one here because we're not together, right? Remember, your homework, right? Make sure you know all the 6 keys to a winning team. Schedule and run a team meeting. Don't have a team to run. Hand out how to run a wiffle. Let's do a quick wiffle. I can end the screen share.
I'm gonna screen.
You all set?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got one more session next week, guys. George, I expect you. I don't know if it's going to be whatever you want to do, but you give me a call. I'm available. You give me a call Friday if you want to. I'm on the road all day Friday, but you know my cell number, right?
Okay. Is it in your email?
It's on this bottom. Yes.
Okay.
The bottom of my emails has got this whole list of all my contact information, including my cell number.
Good.
I'm on the road all day Friday, but if you want to, give me a call. And we can get together and get a coffee somewhere and start talking.
Okay. Sounds good.
Right, Queen. Whenever you're back and you want to, you give me a shout too. We've got another session next week, but I do not want to miss the opportunity to have individual conversation with you guys either early next week or whenever you want. Okay. So when you're ready. Okay. So let me tell you one of our rituals at Action Coach, and we're going to do one. It's called a wiffle. Wiffle? Carl, what the hell are you talking about? Okay.
What's a wiffle?
What's a wiffle? It's another acronym, of course. It means what I feel like expressing. And here's the thing to start playing. So we have all these rituals in Action Coach that we want to use, that we use because rituals help you get a tighter culture. They help bring people together. It's a way for sharing. Okay. So what we basically do, and it's usually done live, not done on Zoom, but it's done live. And we give a chance for everybody to say what they feel like. It's not what you think, it's what do I feel? What I feel like expressing. Yeah, think about that for a minute, right? What in business, and you imagine, do people usually get a chance to express their feelings? No. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Or why did you do this? What were you thinking when you did that? And I've seen cases of where that feeling really enabled a group and a culture to really come together. So the ritual is to give everybody a chance to say what they feel like expressing without recriminations, without being interrupted. It doesn't have to be more than a couple of seconds, but it's a way for a group to get tighter together. All right. So it goes like this. What I feel like expressing. What do I feel like expressing? I feel like expressing. This was a fun session today. I enjoy having you guys. I'm always great fun for me to talk about business, right? And that's what I feel like expressing. So George, what do you feel like expressing?
I feel stressed lately. I know. I'm sorry that it's negative, but I do. I just feel like kind of stressed about where I'm at and how I'm gonna get where I need to be.
So we're gonna have to do something, right? So that's
what
great.
I feel like
And so now here's the thing. So new ritual, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. That it's because it's what you feel like, right?
right.
You can't do anything about something you don't express. So you've expressed it. That's great. Now we're gonna do something to make it feel better. So, and that's what, and now you say, and that's what I feel like expressing.
That's what I feel like expressing.
And now you hand it off to Imani. Imani, what do you feel like expressing?
I'm feeling optimistic.
And that's what I feel like expressing. You got to say it, Imani. You got to say it.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
and
Queen. Queen, you got to say it.
and that's what I feel like expressing.
Excellent, guys. Listen, have a great day.
Thank you.
I'll look forward to chatting with you guys and enjoy your trip. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank
All right,
you.
bye, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.